Most ancient towns are introduced through shops, bridges, or old streets. Cicheng begins with something larger, a county town built around government, education, residences, water, and the daily work of local administration. The first photograph does not begin inside a museum compound. It begins outside town, with an irrigation channel cutting through cultivated fields towards scattered homes and wooded hills. That approach matters. Cicheng was not isolated from the countryside around it. Water, farming, settlement, and administration belonged to the same local landscape. The next image marks a more formal arrival. This three-bay stone archway stands in the south entrance plaza. It announces the historic town, but it should not be confused with a surviving ancient city wall gate. It is best understood as a ceremonial entrance into the modern visitor area. Cicheng is often described as having more than 2,000 years of history, but two distinct timelines are worth separating. Local tradition dates Zhejiang, in the wider area, to around 473 BCE, while the county seat at its present location was established much later, in 738 during the Tang dynasty. From then until 1954, when the county government relocated, Cicheng served as the seat of Cixi County for more than 12 centuries. Unlike most ancient towns, which grew organically around commerce, Cicheng was purpose-built as a formal feudal county administrative center, combining government buildings, Confucian temples, clan mansions, and scholar residences. This explains the orderly, planned character still visible on the official sightseeing map, where official buildings, educational sites, residences, streets, and Cihu Lake each occupy distinct zones within the town. On that map, the irrigation canals and farm fields we passed through correspond to the southern pastoral buffer zone lying outside the ancient city walls, while the stone memorial archway photographed earlier marks the south entrance plaza near entry point number 4. As Zhejiang, the town served as capital of the ancient Yu state and is regarded as the birthplace of Ningbo. Its Cicheng name reflects the long span it served as Cixi County's seat. A stone pai fang marks the outer entrance to Qing Taoist Temple, Qingdao Guan, on Ta Mountain, just east of Cicheng's Old Town. Built as a three-bay, four-pillar structure with 5 tiers of upturned eaves stacked toward the center, it represents the most formal ritual style of Chinese memorial archway, its towering silhouette suited to a Taoist temple's solemn character. Stone-carved dragon and spirit beast ornaments guard each corner of the eaves, a classic Zhongnan decorative motif meant to ward off evil and invite blessings. The whole structure is carved from bluestone, a weather-resistant material common to Zhongnan's traditional architecture. Local accounts trace the temple's origins to the early Tang dynasty, though the surviving gateway shouldn't be taken as Tang-era fabric itself. In traditional ritual layout, such archways served as transitional buffers, easing visitors from secular roadside space into sacred ground as they moved uphill toward the temple. A similar stone pai fang stands near Cihu Lake. Together, the two gateways illustrate how Cicheng used such structures to mark transitions, from road to religious ground, from town street to landscaped water, turning ordinary passage into entry towards spaces of civic or cultural significance. Cihu Lake sits in the northeastern part of Cicheng Ancient Town, giving the documentary room to breathe. Official local material credits its excavation to Fang Guan, Cicheng's first magistrate, during the Tang dynasty, dug originally for farmland irrigation and reaching a historic maximum of about 150 mu, roughly 25 acres. Whatever changes the waterline saw over the centuries, the lake remained woven into the county town's relationship with irrigation, scenery, and public space. Local tradition holds that the lake was first named Khan Lake, after Khan Zi, a poor local scholar of the Three Kingdoms era who rose to become imperial tutor and is said to have devised the fake surrender scheme that helped secure victory at the Battle of Red Cliffs. Such stories are worth noting but are best treated as legend rather than confirmed history. A single-arch stone bridge, officially named Puji Bridge and known locally as Rainbow Bridge, crosses the water along the ancient dike that divides the lake into east and west halves. Built in the classic Zhongnan single-span style typical of Song and Ming Watertown architecture, it favors stepped stone approaches over a flat roadway, slowing pedestrians into a sightseeing pace, while carved stone railings with cloud-patterned panels add restrained ornament without disturbing the lakeside quiet. Cut from plain gray granite, the bridge's neutral tone blends with the water, willows, and surrounding hills, reflecting the Zhongnan garden principle of architecture embedded in scenery. The photographs support a simple observation. The bridge turns a practical crossing into a place to slow down, look across the lake, and connect the built town with its landscaped edge. On Tangjia Lane, in the heart of Cicheng's old county seat, long boundary walls of scholar gentry courtyard mansions reveal the dominant residential form of the ancient town. Built from irregular shale slabs in staggered courses, a durable, breathable local Ningbo technique, the walls are reinforced with gray brick and faced in places with white lime plaster, now mottled by decades of weathering into a classic aged Zhongnan patina. Stacked horse-head fire gables rise along the roofline, blocking fire spread between homes while marking household boundaries. A tall wooden doorway and a second recessed entrance beneath a tiled canopy interrupt the masonry, their solid wood and iron ring knockers built for privacy rather than display. Peifen's presence lends scale, and a blue street sign confirms the location. Such courtyards typically housed successful imperial exam graduates and literati clans, though these images don't establish any particular owner, date, or building history. A short walk brought us to a building actively under restoration, a typical two-story Zhongnan column and beam timber structure, its post and lintel frame carrying the entire load while gray brick and white plaster walls serve purely as non-structural enclosure. Wayne spoke with a worker on site, who confirmed restoration was underway. Original pillars, beams, and purlins are retained wherever sound. Rotten or insect-damaged sections are cut out and spliced with matching cedar, fir, or camphor, with only severely decayed members replaced outright. Connections use hand-carved mortise and tenon joinery rather than nails, allowing the frame to flex with seasonal humidity and minor seismic movement. Roof structures are rebuilt with fir rafters, traditional reed and lime bedding, and the original roof pitch. Floor planks and the wooden staircase follow historical dimensions, with worn treads repaired rather than replaced. The site itself now reads as a construction notebook. Removed tiles, sorted stone slabs, heavy timber, temporary supports, and exposed framing, including a low view beneath the raised structure showing posts, beams, joists, and braces together. Cicheng's history extends beyond administration into the residences of merchants, scholars, and prominent families. One gray brick courtyard compound is identified as the former residence of Ren Shigong, 1894–1946. A Ningbo businessman remembered as the undershirt king of Republic-era China for his dominance of the knitwear industry. Born into the wealthy Ren clan of Shahang Street, he drew on his family's timber firms and Taifeng native bank, established in the old county town since the late Qing period, as a financial foundation. In 1926 he founded the Wuhei Knitting Factory in Shanghai, and by 1937 it had grown into China's largest knitting mill. The building itself embodies classic Zhongnan courtyard architecture. Gray-blue brick, black tiled gable roofs with upturned horse-head eaves, and high enclosure walls that shielded the inner courtyard. A form typical of wealthy gentry residences in Zhejiang during the late Qing and Republic periods. Its plain, restrained aesthetic, free of excessive carving, reflects the pragmatic sensibility of Ningbo merchant families. Carved from local pink-red sandstone, this red sandstone lattice window is a classic feature of Ming and Qing courtyard architecture in Cicheng. Its central carving forms a stylized show character, the symbol of longevity, encircled by scrolling floral and peony motifs representing prosperity and thriving family fortune, a popular auspicious design in Zhejiang's ancient dwellings. This arch retains elaborate high-relief stone carvings typical of Ming craftsmanship across its horizontal beams. The top beam, a vivid twin dragon chasing pearl carving wrapped in cloud patterns. Dragons symbolize dignity, imperial recognition and auspicious fortune. The middle hollowed fretwork belt has continuous openwork decorative patterns that lighten the weight of the stone structure while adding delicate aesthetics. The lower main beam has carvings of lions playing with balls paired with dragon motifs. Lions represent virtue, prosperity and protection for the clan. All carvings feature bold, powerful Ming-style lines, different from the overly delicate carvings of the Qing dynasty. After centuries of wind erosion, parts of the animal figures have worn smooth, forming a weathered historical texture. Cicheng once hosted officials, merchants and literatis' homes, including merchant Ren Shigang's gray brick mansion marked in travel records. Its signature rounded gray brick walls typify Ming-Qing Jiangnan gentry architecture. Granite bases prevent damp, gray bricks form walls, tiled tops stop rain seepage. Curved corners ease traffic blind spots, soften ominous feng shui energy to trap good fortune and wealth, serving as a quiet status symbol seen only in wealthy households' courtyards lining local roads, paired with delicate stone carvings and winding lanes that craft gentle spatial layers. This narrow canal belongs to Cicheng's 1,200-year water system. Mansions adopted a classic front street, rear canal design. Their fronts opened onto land lanes, while back walls leaned against the water with private stone steps for boat cargo delivery, securing courtyard privacy alongside waterborne convenience. Canal banks are reinforced with erosion-resistant granite, staying sturdy for centuries. Mountain springs keep the water flowing, signifying circulating fortune per feng shui rules. Interspersed stone bridges connect alleys across the water. This well-preserved waterscape earned Cicheng a UNESCO Heritage honor and embodies the quiet elegance of Ningbo's scholar merchant towns. The text painted on the ancient wall reads Jingde Zhen Qinghua Xizan, Jingdezhen blue and white porcelain exhibition. Originally a private courtyard belonging to a wealthy literati clan, it has been renovated into an open public exhibition space while fully retaining the original ancient wall structure and courtyard pattern. The giant blue and white porcelain vat placed in the plaza serves as an exhibition prop matching the porcelain show. The ancient courtyard has been renovated into an auxiliary exhibition hall for Cicheng's Mother's Art Museum. It displays folk textile culture, ancient weaving tools, and reproductions of daily female handicraft life in ancient Jiangnan households. The murals on the gate directly illustrate the ancient female textile production scene, echoing the textile exhibition inside Feng Yu painted gate nearby. Unlike crowded commercial shops, this residence retains the quiet, primitive texture of an ancient dwelling, maintaining Cicheng's low commercial heritage preservation style. The elaborate carved bracket sets between columns and beams are simplified folk-style dugong. Patterns are mainly entwined cloud scrolls, peony flowers and floral tendrils, typical of Jiangnan literati aesthetics, symbolizing prosperity, wealth and good fortune. Partial traces of ancient red pigment remain on the carvings, proving the woodwork was originally painted in bright colors. Corbels under beam ends are carved into blooming flower clusters and curling cloud patterns, exquisite openwork carving that showcases local woodcarving craftsmanship of Ningbo. The wooden wall panels between columns retain faint carved flower patterns, echoing the bracket carvings to unify the entire facade's decorative style. The flower-shaped wooden nail heads protruding on the horizontal lintel or decorative wooden caps covering beam-fixing tenons, both ornamental and protective. We are visiting the ancient administrative complex of Old Cixi County inside Cicheng Ancient Town, among southern China's best-preserved intact county government compounds. First built in 738 during the Tang dynasty by Fang Guan, Cixi's inaugural magistrate, this yamen operated continuously as the local ruling center for over 1,200 years until official administrative operations halted in 1954. Throughout its long history, it managed taxation, judicial cases, public security, education and disaster relief for the region. While original structures were lost to repeated destruction, today's compound was reconstructed strictly according to records from the Guangxu period Cixi County Gazetteer. The courtyard and hall layout reflects ancient political spatial order, and archaeological findings plus stone carvings here retain authentic historical roots, making it a vivid display of how traditional county governance operated. Here the documentary reaches its most important piece of physical evidence. This exposed archaeological relic is a brick-paved corridor pathway dating back to the Tang dynasty, preserved inside the second hall. Some bricks embedded here carry inscribed characters marking the 14th year of the Shentong reign, 873 AD, late Tang dynasty, confirming this walkway was laid more than 1,150 years ago. More than 11 centuries before Wayne and Peifen's visit. It is the oldest surviving original architectural remnant within the entire ancient county government compound. This sloped brick passage was the main approach leading to the original Tang-era magistrate's main courtroom. The staggered, orderly brick-laying technique was standard Tang construction craftsmanship. The ancient brick pavement was unearthed during excavation work, left exposed in situ and protected by glass railings and wooden Chinese lattice fencing for visitors to view directly. The scattered silver coins you spot on the soil are offerings left by tourists, not ancient relics. It verifies that this county administrative site has remained in continuous official use from the Tang dynasty onward, proving Cicheng's identity as a long-standing ancient county seat. Bygone. A loyal upright minister of the Shang dynasty. He had a heart of 7 apertures and died for speaking the truth. People regard him as the god of honest wealth, suitable for civil servants, scholars and salaried workers. Fan Li, a strategist from the spring and autumn period who retired from officialdom, became a merchant, amassed great fortune 3 times and gave away all his wealth each time. He is revered as the god of commercial wealth, favored by businessmen. Zhao Gongming sits in this photo's shrine. Clad in warrior attire and holding an iron whip, he is the most famous martial god of wealth in folk belief. Traditionally worshipped by traders, shop owners and people running physical businesses, he was believed to ward off evil spirits while bringing fortune. The prominent golden wall carving features 2 qilin facing each other toward a treasure orb beneath a red sun and cloud patterns. Qilin is an auspicious mythical beast symbolizing prosperity, wealth, good fortune and thriving descendants. Twin qilin create a symmetrical solemn blessing scene matching the fortune shrine theme. Directly in front stands a wooden box labeled Gong Dai Shang, merit box, donation box, for pilgrims to make merit donations, a standard feature in Chinese folk shrines. The golden characters on the black pillars form a blessing couplet. The right pillar says, Qian Chu Qi Chu Qian Chu Ying. Pray wherever you are. Blessings shall arrive wherever you pray. The left pillar states, Wan Shi Ji Shang Wan Shi Xing. All affairs auspicious, all undertakings flourish. It echoes the shrine's function. People come here to pray for wealth, good luck and prosperous livelihoods. A sign explains that movement through the Yamen was governed by ceremony and status, although some of its dramatic gate traditions should be treated as museum interpretation rather than universal practice. The clearest moral statement appears on the stone stele in the courtyard. Gong Sheng Ming Gong Sheng Ming. The phrase teaches that public-minded impartiality produces clear judgment. Its location on the route toward the main hall made the principle impossible to miss. Long covered galleries flank the courtyards, connecting offices and waiting spaces around the central court. The present route is organized for visitors, but the architecture still communicates hierarchy. Open court, raised hall, controlled thresholds, and workspaces arranged around authority. These 3 wax figures recreate officials reviewing official paperwork. The central man wearing a Mandarin official's hat and blue court robe is the county magistrate. He is carefully checking official documents or case files spread open on the desk. One clerk stands beside him presenting documents, while another civilian aide waits to receive instructions. This scene shows the daily administrative routine. Magistrates reviewed case records, tax documents and official dispatches in their private office before public court hearings. Hanging on the wall is an old layout drawing titled Fu Zi Guan Xie Tu Hu, rear layout of the magistrate's official residence. It maps the full axial layout of the entire Yamen. Ceremonial gate, trial hall, side clerk rooms, magistrates' private living quarters, back gardens, prisons and auxiliary halls arranged along a strict central axis. Ancient county yamens followed a standard symmetrical architectural pattern. Front for court hearings and governance. Rear for the magistrate's family residence, separating public official business from private living spaces. A clerk dressed in crimson official robes sits writing official texts at a writing desk with brush and ink. Another staff member stands beside him waiting to submit materials or receive written documents. The wall scroll is a sacrificial ritual list for worshipping local sages and teachers, revealing that county officials also managed local Confucian rituals, education and memorial ceremonies besides judicial and tax work. This is the magistrate's private meeting chamber. A portrait of Confucius hangs prominently on the back wall. Confucianism was the governing ideology of ancient China, so Confucius portraits were standard furnishings in official offices. Two officials sit chatting and discussing county governance affairs, while a scribe works at a side desk. This was the inner reception room. The magistrate met local gentry, scholar elites and subordinate officials here to discuss regional affairs in private, outside public court. This is the most iconic scene inside the main trial hall. The court trial scene. The magistrate sits formally at the judge's bench on the left. One criminal wears a wooden kangay, neck torture board, a common punishment in ancient China for public humiliation and restraint. Guarded by two bailiffs whose uniforms bear the Chinese character Chu, or prisoner. A plaintiff kneels on the ground to state his grievance and testify before the magistrate. Three figures demonstrate ancient official social etiquette. The man in golden silk robe performs the ancient fist and palm salute to greet the magistrate, reflecting strict Qing dynasty social manners and bureaucratic etiquette norms for meetings between gentry and local officials. A teacup sits on the antique long table, matching the custom of receiving guests with tea. This is the main trial hall we viewed from the courtyard earlier, complete with full ceremonial furnishings. The horizontal plaque reads Ming Jing Gao Zan, a bright mirror hung high, the classic symbol meaning the magistrate judges cases impartially, just as a clear mirror reflects truth without bias. Behind the magistrate's seat is a golden backdrop with a rising sun motif, symbolizing upright justice and imperial authority. On both sides stand ceremonial placards marked Su Jing, meaning silence, and Wei Bai, meaning stand aside, or clear the way, carried by bailiffs to warn onlookers to keep quiet during court sessions. The magistrate sits presiding over court, flanked by attendants and bailiffs ready to take orders. This is the ceremonial setup for open public trials. This large red drum called the grievance drum, Shengyuan drum, complaint drum, standing against the left wall of the county court hall is the ancient litigation drum, placed right inside the main courtroom of the county Yamen for two primary practical reasons. 1. Common people could beat the drum to file a lawsuit directly. Ordinary civilians in ancient times had no easy way to meet the county magistrate. If they suffered injustice, were wronged, or needed to bring a civil, criminal case, they could walk into the outer court of the Yamen and strike this drum. The drum's loud sound alerted bailiffs inside the hall, who would then notify the magistrate to open court and hear the plaintiff's grievance. It was the most direct channel for commoners to seek justice before the local magistrate. 2. To officially open court sessions. When the magistrate was ready to start a trial, bailiffs would beat this drum to signal the official commencement of court proceedings, gather Yamen runners, warn onlookers to quiet down, and establish the solemn, authoritative atmosphere of the court. The drum represented that the magistrate's court was theoretically open to every townsfolk, serving as a symbol that grievances may be aired. In traditional Chinese governance ideology, rulers set up grievance drums to prevent officials from shielding corruption and blocking ordinary people's appeals. Paired with the spears, guando halberds, crescent blades and other weapons lined beside the drum, seen in the photo here, the whole setup demonstrated the coercive power of the county government. The weapons stood for law enforcement force, while the drum represented judicial openness, combining authority and fairness. In practice, rules were enforced to prevent frivolous drumbeating. Anyone who struck the drum without legitimate grounds for a lawsuit would be punished. This prevented the court from being overwhelmed by trivial disputes while still protecting people with genuine grievances. In short, the drum was the bridge connecting ordinary civilians to the county judicial system in ancient China. Two sets of Qing soldier quilted armor, red and pale beige, fitted with iron studs, paired with traditional military helmets decorated with red tassels. The red armor represents the red banner. The pale yellow set corresponds to one of the 8 banners of the Qing dynasty. This is cotton-studded armor, widely used in the Qing era. Lightweight, flexible for patrols and guarding the county Yamen, while capable of blocking sword cuts and arrow strikes. Inside the Yamen, county magistrates commanded garrison soldiers maintain local security, arrest criminals and guard the Yamen compound. Displaying banner soldier armor showcases the military enforcement power backing local judicial administration, demonstrating that upright governance was protected by official armed forces. Here we have an ancient archery equipment storage wall. The objects on display on the upper tier are composite bows, leather arrow quivers filled with feathered arrows. On the lower tier there are more bows stored inside red wooden drawers. Archery was a basic skill for ancient Yamen guards and constables, used for arresting fugitives and defending the county seat. In Imperial China, civil officials were expected to possess basic martial competence, representing the ideal of civil-military balanced governance. These weapons illustrate the complete security system of a historical county government. This rack holds multiple late Qing period breech-loading rifles, set neatly on traditional red wooden weapon racks inside the Cixi County Yamen's armory exhibition area. These are modern firearms that entered China in the latter part of the Qing dynasty, replacing older bows, spears, and cold weapons as the primary firearms for local Yamen guards and county garrison troops. Just as ancient spears and bows represented the coercive power backing the magistrates' rulings, these rifles serve the same symbolic purpose. Impartial governance and honest law enforcement relied on tangible armed force to be enforced. The weapons are secured on purpose-built wooden display racks matching the classical architectural style of the Yamen building, integrated into the armory exhibition zone alongside the bows, shields and armor we looked at earlier, forming a complete chronological display of the county government's armament evolution over the Qing dynasty. On the upper half are 5 bronze shields carved with ferocious lion beast facial patterns. Their practical function was used by Yamen guards during court hearings and law enforcement to maintain order and subdue lawbreakers. Its symbolism was the fierce beast carvings intimidated criminals, highlighting the solemn deterrence of judicial authority. The porous gray stone is Lingbai stone, a classic ornamental rock for Zhongnan gardens. Its hollow, craggy form follows the garden philosophy of seeing grandness within subtlety, thus called Lingbai Scholar's Rock. A descending garden path leads toward a dark opening beneath arranged rockwork. From the side, the feature becomes part of a larger planted composition. The perforated, porous gray rocks are Cihu stone, the most iconic rock material for Chinese classical gardens. The cave twists and turns, creating a hidden walking path. Visitors move from open garden space into a shaded stone tunnel, producing contrast between open, closed, bright, dim spaces. A classic Chinese gardening technique called Ku Jing Tong Yu, winding paths leading to secluded spots. From inside, heavy stones close around a narrow passage with daylight beyond. This rock grotto design matured in the southern Song dynasty, reached full prosperity during the Ming and Qing dynasties. In traditional Chinese literati culture, rockery symbolizes mountains, representing stability, integrity of character. Water and caves symbolize seclusion. Wandering through rock caves mimics the experience of roaming wild mountains, allowing scholars living in urban residences to gain a sense of living in the city, yet dwelling among mountains. The rear garden also became an exhibition about honest government. A huge round bronze drum sculpture placed on an ornately carved stone pedestal sits in the exact center of the main courtyard, framed by paving, bamboo, galleries, and gray brick walls. The visit record identifies a related close view as the Admonishing mirror, a modern integrity-themed object that turns the older courtroom metaphor of clear reflection into garden sculpture. This is an important distinction. The display belongs to the modern interpretation of Cicheng's Yamen, not to the Tang Foundation itself. Yet it continues the same question introduced by Gong Shengming and the Bright Mirror plaque. How should power be restrained, and what should an official see when looking back at his own decisions? A long straight stone path paved with mixed gray and reddish stone slabs, lined symmetrically with potted bamboo plants on both sides, enclosed by gray brick walls and traditional tiled buildings on either side. Symmetrical bamboo planting creates a solemn, orderly atmosphere matching the serious nature of officialdom. Walking this bamboo-lined passage became a ritual transition space. Passing from the leisure garden back to the working official area reminded the magistrate to regain self-discipline and integrity before handling government affairs. In ancient China, bronze mirrors were polished metal discs used for personal grooming. The richly carved backside you see here would normally face away from the user. This monument copies traditional mirror back ornamentation, dragon phoenix motifs, the 12 zodiac animals, and floral patterns circle the central bronze knob. It carries symbolic meaning, referencing the famous old saying, "Use bronze as a mirror to straighten your clothes. Use history as a mirror to understand rise and fall. Use people as a mirror to know one's own gains and losses." This metaphor stands for self-reflection and learning from the past. Finally, an open wooden gate, fitted with antique metal door knockers, frames the innermost garden. The gate opens onto a winding stone garden path surrounded by green plants and scholars' rocks. The Yamen was built with 3 layers from front to back: public court area, residential courtyard, private leisure garden. This gate leads to the innermost quiet garden, a secluded space for magistrates to rest, meditate and cultivate moral character after finishing official work. The sequence suggests that the official compound was designed not only for judgment and paperwork, but also for residence, circulation, rest, and separation from the public front of the Yamen. Looking out from under a pavilion's lattice ceiling toward the back garden, winding paved paths laid with broken stone, ornamental Cihu scholars' rocks, trimmed bushes and layered trees. The same couplet, Shi Ji Yuan Mie, appears on the right pillar again. Jiangnan official gardens adopted a secluded, minimalist style rather than luxurious landscaping. The simple rock and grass scenery was meant to curb extravagance, teaching officials to live plainly and avoid indulgence in luxury. The visible line hung on the vertical black wooden couplet on the corridor column reads, Shi Ji Yuan Mie. Eliminate all greedy desires. The hidden paired line on the opposite pillar reads roughly, only then can governance stay peaceful. The couplet delivers a straightforward disciplinary maxim for ancient civil servants. Eradicating greed and material craving is the fundamental prerequisite for being an honest official. It is carved on columns in the leisure garden so the magistrate would see it constantly while resting and walking. Lush green bamboo grove dominates the foreground, alongside lawn grass, ornamental trees, rock formations, and layered shrubs forming a classical Jiangnan private garden layout. Wooden corridor railings with geometric lattice patterns frame the garden scenery. Bamboo is the core symbolic plant in honest official culture in China. Bamboo grows straight, hollow inside, and resists bending in wind, symbolizing integrity, modesty, incorruptibility, and upright conduct for government officials. Planting bamboo in the magistrate's private garden served as a daily visual reminder for the magistrate to remain clean and virtuous. A winding wooden-covered corridor stretches into the distance, with lattice railings, solid gray brick walls on one side, and a grass garden on the other. A stone scenic tablet with carved Chinese characters stands at the corridor turning point. These connected covered walkways link every building of the Yamen complex, allowing movement between halls in rain or sunshine. As part of the Honest Official Exhibition Zone, the corridor walls hold display boards introducing local virtuous officials of Cixi. These winding Jiangnan garden corridors were built as sheltered wandering paths, curving alongside bamboo, pine trees and Cihu rockeries to connect garden scenes. Constructed with dark wooden pillars set on stone bases to resist damp rot, they shield visitors from rain and summer heat while functioning as moving viewing frames for the landscape beyond. The geometric lattice railings and eave fretwork were practical as much as decorative. Open grills allow cool airflow to combat southern humidity, fragment outdoor scenery into shifting framed views as one walks, and their repetitive modular pattern was easy for traditional carpenters to mass-produce, making this design widespread across Zhejiang gardens. The interplay of solid wood structure and empty lattice space embodies the ancient Chinese design principle of blending enclosure and openness. The architecture harmonizes perfectly with the surrounding landscaping. Bamboo, evergreens and rugged rock formations unfold outside the railings, and the meandering corridor bends to follow the garden's natural layout. Integrated wooden benches let people pause to admire nature through the lattice, merging architecture with scenery rather than separating humans from the outdoors. The core reason this delicate timber corridor style endured for centuries. Behind the formal courtrooms, the pace changes. A transitional court with large water jars gives way to bamboo, planted beds, and covered walkways. Shot from beneath a wooden-covered corridor with dark wooden beams and columns, looking into a private courtyard paved with bluestone slabs. This is the transitional courtyard between the official public court section and the magistrate's private living quarters. The quiet, restrained garden design was intentional. Upright ancient magistrates were encouraged to seek calmness in these yards for self-reflection, away from noisy official business. This is a traditional Chinese covered corridor, lang, built in the classical Zhongnan architectural style, designed as a transitional semi-outdoor space connecting different courtyard sections. Repeated arched gateways and vertical wooden columns recede linearly into the distance, creating strong linear perspective that draws the eye deep into the corridor, generating a layered, rhythmic sense of depth typical of Chinese garden design. The alternating shaded covered walkway and bright sunlit far end creates a light and shadow rhythm that avoids monotonous straight passageways. The plaque overhead reads Tang, or Second Hall, a secondary courtroom within the ancient county Yamen where the magistrate handled routine civil affairs and met guests rather than holding major trials. The side plaque, and Minhei Shang, translates roughly to, pacify the people, create harmonious communities, a traditional governing ideal for ancient local officials. First we have Fang Guan, the first magistrate of ancient Cicheng, Tang dynasty. He restructured the county town layout, governed honestly, and laid the foundation for Cicheng's centuries-long prosperity. Here also is Du Fu, China's celebrated great Tang poet, who was a close lifelong friend of Fang Guan. The garden's moral lessons become more explicit at a circular gate shaped like a huge ancient coin engraved with Qianlong Tongbao characters is known as the corrupt official's gate. The design carries a sharp warning. Walking through this coin-shaped passage means being trapped by money and greed. The narrow, dim tunnel creates a suffocating atmosphere, illustrating how greed imprisons officials, leading to moral decay and downfall. Nearby, a bronze-colored mythical beast sitting in the central courtyard is Xieji, the mythical judicial beast in Chinese culture. Legend says Xieji has a single horn to prick the guilty and distinguish right from wrong, so it became the symbolic totem of ancient judicial courts. A traditional emblem of judgment. Placed here, it symbolizes justice, impartial trial and the supervision of judicial fairness. The bamboo planted around further highlights the noble integrity expected of officials. It is also known as the dragon turtle, an auspicious hybrid creature with the head of a dragon and the body of a turtle, one of the 9 sons of the dragon in Chinese folklore. It has a fierce dragon head with whiskers and horns, a turtle's segmented scaled torso, and sturdy turtle limbs. The creature rests atop piles of traditional Chinese gold ingots, yuan bao, classic symbols of wealth and fortune. Chinese characters are carved onto the stone base beneath the statue. The dragon turtle paired with gold ingots stands for attracting fortune, prosperity and abundant wealth. The turtle component symbolizes health, longevity and stability. In traditional culture, this beast is believed to ward off bad luck and bring good fortune. The horizontal above the next threshold reads Yamen, meaning residential gate. This doorway separates the official public court zone, where trials took place, and the private living quarters where the county magistrate lived with his family. In traditional Yamen layout, official business and domestic life were strictly partitioned to avoid family interference in judicial affairs, a core rule for clean governance. The round bronze mirror mounted inside the doorway is known as the Mirror of Rectitude. In ancient Chinese official culture, a mirror symbolizes self-inspection, reminding the magistrate to constantly examine his own conduct, reflect on mistakes, stay impartial and uncorrupted. This central courtyard view of the Yamen complex captures the open stone courtyard between two halls, framed by thick dark wooden columns with stone bases to prevent wood rot in damp southern climates. The far side features continuous wooden lattice partition doors leading into the next hall, and woven bamboo lanterns hang beneath the sloped wooden roof beams. Empty stone courtyards between buildings functioned as natural lighting wells and ventilation channels for the connected halls. Large earthen vats placed in the courtyard also served an ancient practical purpose, storing water for fire prevention within the all-wood government compound. The repetitive arrangement of columns, courtyards and halls reinforces the orderly, hierarchical architectural logic of a feudal county government. Shot from inside one hall looking outward through tall wooden lattice partition doors. The dense square lattice filters strong outdoor sunlight into soft striped shadows inside the building, controlling brightness and ventilation, a signature feature of Zhejiang architecture for coping with bright, humid weather. Through the doorway, layered halls and hanging woven bamboo lanterns recede into the distance, demonstrating the multi-courtyard axial layout of ancient county Yamen buildings. Each courtyard lines up sequentially along a central axis, creating a sense of depth, solemn ritual order for government architecture, and separating public official zones from private living quarters step by step. This space is the magistrate's private leisure area. A large circular rosewood dining, tea table with marble inlaid tops occupies the center, surrounded by matching round stools for casual tea gatherings. Behind it stands a full set of open lattice antique display shelves, duo bao filled with assorted colored porcelain vases, jars and antique wares of varying heights and shapes. These display cabinets showcase the magistrate's collection of curiosities while reflecting refined literati taste. Symmetrical plant stands with green orchids frame the room's two sides. Unlike the solemn reception hall, this layout is relaxed and intimate, designed for reading, drinking tea, appreciating antiques and escaping official affairs. This is the magistrate's living lounge, centered on a traditional Chinese daybed, luohan bed, with marble landscape panels inlaid on its headboard, for napping or reclining. A round marble-topped tea table and stools sit in front of the bed for casual refreshment. Tall stands topped with red lanterns and potted green plants are placed symmetrically on both sides of the room, and vertical decorative hanging plaques adorn the blank wall. The atmosphere is far softer and more domestic than the reception hall. It was used for daily relaxation, resting between official duties and private conversations with family or close associates. This formal reception chamber follows traditional Zhongnan scholar official interior layout. A symmetrical central long altar table holds a Cihu ornamental rock flanked by matching floral porcelain jars as the focal point. A pair of carved hardwood armchairs with marble inlaid backrests sit opposite each other before a small square tea table, forming a formal guest receiving seating arrangement. 4 vertical decorative panels hang evenly on the rear wall, each embedded with natural stone landscape slices and miniature porcelain vases, a classic southern decorative style that brings natural scenery indoors. Tall carved side tables with potted green plants stand at both sides of the room, adding vitality while maintaining solemnity suitable for official meetings and receiving distinguished visitors. Dark wooden beams, white plaster walls and lattice wooden windows create soft diffused daylight inside the hall. Here Pei Fen sits directly behind the large carved hardwood official desk placed at the central focal point of the hall's main reception area. This is the exact seat reserved historically for the county magistrate presiding over the room, facing forward toward the courtyard and visitors. Behind her hangs a traditional Chinese painting of red-crowned cranes paired with a vertical calligraphy couplet set against a deep blue fabric backdrop. The antique carved side table to the right of the main desk is also visible here, consistent with the layout of this historic official reception chamber. Symmetrical wooden plant stands with potted foliage flanking the backdrop wall on both sides. The right vertical scroll, right side of the painting, says, Lanzu Qing Yu Tuo Yu Bao. It translates to, finding serene delight amid orchids and bamboo, lodging quiet noble aspirations deep within the heart. The left vertical scroll, left side of the painting, says, Lan Ting Shang Yang Zhu Feng Lu, roughly translates to, wine sipping and poetry reciting at the Orchid Pavilion embody timeless refined grace and elegant charm. Nearby relief murals, sheltered under small tiled roofs, illustrate moral historical scenes of upright ancient magistrates resolving disputes, tending to residents, and practicing honest governance. The right panel shows a virtuous official hearing public grievances among townsfolk, while the left depicts day-to-day case handling. Accompanying angled interpretive plaques are illegible in photos, and these artworks are modern reconstructions, not original courtroom relics. They reinforce the exhibition's core message: unchecked authority breeds corruption, and public office ought to prioritize service over personal gain. Bamboo growing among the panels carries heavy symbolic weight within traditional official culture. Its hollow form stands for humility, its straight, wind-resistant growth embodies unyielding integrity. Its enduring green foliage symbolizes constant noble character, aligning perfectly with Cicheng Yamen's ethos of upright governance. Black stone stels with vertical calligraphy preserve these officials' biographies, benevolent local policies, incorrupt achievements, and historical assessments for future generations. These final photos capture the tranquil garden walkways and leisure courtyards within the historic county government compound at Cicheng, showcasing classic Zhongnan official garden design that balances natural greenery, aged masonry hardscaping, and traditional architectural aesthetics. Alternating straight formal walkways and relaxed irregular courtyards create a rhythm. The structured brick paths reflect the formality of government business zones, while the casual stone table courtyard serves as a retreat for officials to unwind and meditate. Heavy shade from mature trees cools the walkways, forming calm shaded promenades ideal for strolling between buildings. The integration of aged stone masonry, weathered walls, mossy trees, and native Chinese plants creates a quiet, serene, timeless mood. Unlike ornate private scholar gardens, this official courtyard landscaping is restrained, simple, and understated, fitting the humble, upright values expected of ancient magistrates. Early pavilions appeared more than 2,000 years ago during the Han Dynasty. Originally they were roadside watchtowers and way stations for travelers, set along ancient roads for rest and border surveillance. By the Tang and Song dynasties, 960 to 1279 AD, pavilions moved inside private estates and imperial gardens. They lost their military roadside function and became purely recreational viewing structures. The curved flying upturned eaves you see in the photo are typical for southern China. The light, lifted roof helps shed heavy rain, creates an elegant silhouette, and became iconic for Suzhou Ningbo Hangzhou region gardens. Pavilions can be square, hexagonal, octagonal or round. This one is a square plan pavilion. Stone drum stools inside were standard, durable garden furniture for all weather use. In Cicheng Ancient County, where these photos are taken, these pavilions recreate the lifestyle of ancient gentry families. Places for quiet reflection, gathering guests, and appreciating the seasons. Cicheng's value is not that every wall, chair, weapon, or statue is ancient. Its value is that the photographs reveal the idea of a county town as a complete system. Fields and water supported settlement. Examination culture trained ambition. Homes and lanes held private life. The Yamen organized local authority. Gardens and memorials argued that officials should restrain themselves. Restoration kept buildings in use, while archaeology carried the site beyond reconstruction and back into the Tang dynasty. Wayne and Peifen's visit captured only one afternoon, but the archive is wide enough to show how many kinds of life once met in the same town. That is what makes Cicheng worth remembering, not as an ancient village, but as an ancient county town.